Hey crew, it's Mike. Today, we're going to talk about replacing this crappy stock front fender that's been on my bike for 6 years with the new beautiful aftermarket fender from Clockwork. You may be wondering why I'm saying it's crap. We all know a lot of things that are stock suck. Stock exhaust, stock audio. So many things that people complain about, stock suspension. I really never thought about the fender being crappy, but after 6 years, I kind of feel like it is. I'll show you some close-ups here, and I'll explain why I'm replacing this. But I have a rock chip there, and there, and there, and I get rock chips come from wear and tear and from use, and that's okay. But I have a dent here, a dent here, a dent here, and a big old dent back here. I mean, you can feel this thing. It feels like the Grand Canyon fell in there. After I did some research on this, and I don't know how well you can see it, I'm gonna try and hold the wheel, but the fender flexes a fair amount on here. I found out that these fenders are not nearly as strong as aftermarket fenders in the way they're made. Now, I'm really careful. If you go back and watch videos where I replaced the headlights, did some upgrades, or where I'm working on the audio or putting my vent lights in my dash, I cover this fender really well. I might have put one of these dents in there when first time I did it, because I don't think I used a quilted pad, but I didn't double it up. Ever since then, I've doubled it up, but somehow I still managed to get these little dents in here. I don't know if it was maybe from hail. This one back here, it really feels big, and it's not a round dent, it's more long, like somebody dropped something on there. Maybe that would happen with an aftermarket fender, but this thing seems to really dent easy. But the fact is, I'm doing some upgrades now that the baby is paid off, and I got an opportunity to put a new front fender on here that is a tire hugger from Clockworks. It's a slicer. I think it's going to look amazing. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to show you the difference in this fender from the Clockworks fender after I get this one off, because the Clockworks fender is a stamped 14 gauge piece of metal. This is not a stamped fender. A stamped fender is going to be all one piece of metal. It also comes with a protective E-coat already on the fender when you buy it from Clockworks. In this case, we're doing something a little different than that today, but the differences here while we're talking about, like these, you can see rivets here. This is two different pieces of metal. The mount and the fender are riveted together. And I'll show you that on the inside. You can see it, you can feel it, you can see the rivets out here. The new fender's not gonna have that. Clockworks fender, I was really surprised. They have like 7 different styles to fit late model touring bikes. They have fenders for Softails, they have fenders for Indians, they have fenders for Scouts and the Challengers, not just counting the other things they make, fairings and trim and other stuff, windshields. Of course, everybody knows them for their windshields, and now their phone mounts, the IO mounts. We're gonna take this thing off, and I'm gonna show you the difference in the weight between a factory fender and an aftermarket fender that is smaller, but should weigh more because it's heavier, stronger, better made. Now, like I said, when you buy them from Clockworks, I think for my bike, all the fenders were around $360. When you order them that way, they're just E-coated to prevent rust and stuff like that. My understanding is like a 13-step process, just like the big auto manufacturers do. Clockworks has a great video on that explaining that stuff. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Clockworks fender is about $360, but it's not painted. I've got a friend that paints. I talked to him. If he had to buy the paint and everything else, it was probably going to cost me $200. And Clockworks has a company they work with, thefactorymatch.com, and they will paint the fender for $200. It's already painted. The guy does great work. You're going to see it because that's what I ended up doing. I got the Factory Match sent me a color matched front fender. Now, I did not choose to do the pinstriping. I actually didn't want the pinstriping because I have a custom fairing that doesn't have pinstriping on there, so I didn't care about matching it. In fact, I kind of wanted a blank canvas here in case I decide I want to do airbrushing on the front fender or something like that in the future. Then we'll have to worry about saddlebags and stuff like that. I don't know that we'll ever do the tank, but if we decide we want to, there's always options there as well. I think it's time to take this thing off and see how it compares. Now, this is a 1/4 inch hex. I always try and use a ratchet with a rubber coated handle when I can, if at all possible. Now, I'm just gonna loosen it up, break all the bolts loose before I get carried away. When I take the bolts out, I like to check the length to make sure they're all the same length so I don't have to worry about which one goes back where. Both the bolts on this side are the same length. I'm sure the other side's gonna be the same. I put some fiber cloth between the fender and the forks so when I take this loose, it doesn't bang up against the fork and scratch or damage the fender any further. I know it's a stock fender and I'm getting rid of it, but I still don't want to tear it up. It might be of value to someone else. If I was really being professional, I'd probably be putting painter's tape in here to help protect everything, but again, this is the stock fender, so I'm not overly concerned about it. Okay, I'm gonna turn the scale on. I'm gonna put the factory fender on here and see what she weighs. 74.22 ounces. Let's get the new Clockworks fender out. All right, here's my box from the factory match. I have already opened it and checked it all out. I couldn't wait till I was able to record it to look at it, but I have not really unwrapped it. So, it comes well padded. I took some of the padding out, but these should be a mounting kit if I need it. Like I said, I've already looked at it. It came wrapped like this. I kind of put it back the best I could to show you. It was actually packaged a little better than this before I opened it. They did a really nice job of, making sure everything's protected. Now, I mentioned earlier, I have a friend that paints professionally. That's what he does for a living. And he looked at this. He helped me unwrap it the first time. And he looked at it and he said they did a really good job. He couldn't have done any better. It looks beautiful. What do you think, guys? Is that gonna look good on there? We'll put it on there in just a second and see. All right, let's see what this new fender weighs. Be really careful with this baby. About 108 ounces. The other one was like 74. When you order your fender, they will offer a mounting kit if it's needed for your bike. It was included in the price. So I have a mounting kit for a 2014 up spacers for 16 to 19 inch wheels. What you get in the box here, I'll show you. Again, they're all taped up, covered up nice and neat. Mine came vivid black. So they will match the fender and blend in. Again, Factory Match does any factory paint match. If you got the amber whiskey or other colors, they can match that. Different colors cost different prices on the website. Vivid black is probably one of the cheaper, more affordable colors, but they have a whole range of colors you can choose from. So they can probably match just about anything you got, assuming it's a factory color. There's new bolts, nuts. See if we can get this thing on. I got a friend here to help me so we can make sure we get it on and not scratch it, I hope. Now on this spacer, you make sure the rounded part is down to match. Washer and nut on the inside. Okay, it's that side. All right, so we got all 4 nuts started on here. We'll go ahead and tighten them up and then we'll remove this cloth, this protective cloth. How many foot-pounds do you think we need, Randy?
Fender.
Till it's snug?
Snug.
Snug and then an 1/8 of turn past. All right, well there she is, unveiled, all mounted. One of the things that's really, really nice about this fender, clearance is tight but good, all the way around the tire. Everything lined up, fits like it should, fits like a glove. I mean, you can tell it's designed right. There's not extra clearance. We don't have a lot of space, but we don't want a lot of space when we're going for a tire hugger look. And the paint quality is just amazing. Everything looks great. Really super pleased with the way this turned out. Now we'll see how many of my friends have to have one too. All right guys, it's been a couple months since I installed the fender. Actually, I've got to put several hundred miles on. It's winter time, I haven't rode a lot. We're just getting into spring, but enough that I want you to know it's not loosened up. I haven't had to retighten it. It doesn't rub. Everything fits perfectly. The finish is perfect. If you're looking for an aftermarket front fender, I highly recommend you check out what Clockworks has to offer. They have a lot of different styles. They fit a lot of different bikes. They're not Harley only. And unless you think you can paint really good, I just recommend going to the factory match, letting those guys paint it to match and ship it directly to you, and it's ready to bolt on. Looks great right out of the box. All right guys, we'll see you in the next one. You all stay safe and you keep on riding.